guys. Mulligans and Hackers Golf. We're back after the holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year coming up.
Happy New Year's coming up here shortly.
In a couple of days after this posts. All the best to everybody in the new year. Hopefully you got everything you want for Christmas golf related, and hopefully your New Year's goes safe.
Man, I can't believe 2024 is coming to an end already. Man, what a year!
It was quite a year. Yeah, we haven't even done a we did a season review, but we haven't.
Yeah, we could kind of combine it into this one a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit. But we went to the simulator last weekend.
Yeah, finally got some sim time for the first time
for a couple hours, and it's literally the first time I've swung clubs since we got the snow.
Me as well. It's been a long time, and I mean, we've kind of been sitting there, yearning to be used, just kind of sitting in the corner. And
again, I got out of something I said at the end of the year I wasn't going to do. I totally got out of the mindset of golf for a while, like physically playing the sport. I did a little bit of putting downstairs, but never really got into any swinging or anything. And I will say that when we went and started the sim session, there wasn't a lot. There was a whole learning curve again. I think I hit my first shot with a iron, and it felt good, and it was downhill from there. Like literally downhill from there. Like it's like that first shot you show up, you smoke it, and you want to walk off the range.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
That was kind of the same thing, but we were there for like another hour and 59 minutes. But I mean, I dislike sims because I can't gauge anything at a simulator, because we were hitting balls on the range in the range session of the simulator.
Yep.
And we were getting totally different yardages than what we were getting when we played the simulator, like when we picked the course.
Correct.
And for me, that's very tough to, like, I need to know what my clubs are doing. Because
that's why you have a range session generally that day, right?
Right. Like, I want to know what my clubs are doing. If I'm, if I'm hitting my 7-iron, 140 yards, 150 yards, I want to know. But then when we take it to the course, we switch from the sim range to the sim course, and I'm getting 130 yards out of that 7-iron. Well, what the hell's changed from the range to? I find it very difficult to navigate simulators, and it takes a little bit of the enjoyment away. And we picked a couple of hard courses to start with, anyways.
We did,
because we picked Augusta to start.
Yeah. And we decided to go hard at Augusta,
and it was
right
tight lines on this course,
and fast fucking
greens. But so I mean, we were OB early, taking mulligans early in that round. It's like, well, God, this is our first time swinging clubs. Maybe we don't need.
But I mean, to be fair, at Amplex where we went, like most of those courses are pretty tight, because that's the way those like I guess it's more of like a Korean technology that they use, I think. So a lot of the golf courses on there are a lot tighter, right? Like, say if we go down to Cottonwood, which we're doing the sim league this year. We go down there; they're not tight like that. Like there's no OB as soon as you're off the freaking first cut of the rough into the trees.
You're OB, right? It's like, well, we haven't hit club. I mean, it was terrible. Just every shot was OB. Every shot was OB because you're not quite into it yet, and.
Well, you got to figure out your stance, and like where the ball's got to be again. Because again, to our, we had a couple months where we didn't do much.
Yep.
So all that stuff's got to come flooding back. Like, I mean, I striped a couple that were really good, and then I had a couple that were horrendously awful. And again, this is going to come up maybe a little later, but your distances at the sim are just ungodly, and I can't get distance at a sim, and. Again, I recorded the whole 2-hour sim session. Right.
And I started looking at it, looking at me swinging from behind, like, and I do notice I get my arms far away from my body.
Yes.
The Mo Norman style of golf swing.
You always have.
I always have. I generate zero power because it's all upper body. I get no lower body into that swing. And it was very evident watching that I need to work on getting my hands closer and getting that turn tighter. And that is something when...
Well, that's where I got a lot of distance from.
Well, dude,
it's a coil, right?
Yeah, and I don't have it. And when we go to sims, that's a big knock for me. Like I get 200 yards out of a driver. That's it.
Yeah.
So
like you like 220 if you're lucky.
if I'm lucky, like, and when we're out on a golf course, I'm 250, I'm 260. Again, I'm with a little bit of rollout, like that's total distance. I don't have a huge carry with my driver, but you can't correlate that when you go from the golf course and you're going, well, I can hit a driver 250, maybe 260, and you go to a sim while you're hitting 200, 60 yards shorter, man.
Well, and I think part of that also, I was thinking about that the other day, is I also have now a lower, more piercing ball flight with my woods, especially. Like it's a lower piercing, so it's getting out there and going. And yours is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Like hit it up there, hit it upwards, and just let it glide out there, right?
Well, I did see, and again, these are things when I've never really watched myself swing for any length of time, maybe one or two swings here and there on the range that I've recorded throughout the summer. But I scoop the ball, right? I don't compress the ball.
Especially off the tee. Yeah.
I scoop the ball.
Yeah, well, but it keeps you accurate.
I was noticing with my irons more than anything, I was scooping the ball, and I was like literally nerfing my distance. My driver, I always hit up on the driver because that's how my stance works. I'd like to get my hands a little closer to my body with the driver as well and try and generate that lower body strength.
Yeah.
So it's something I got to work on too. But my driver's accurate, and I don't want to be spray and pray off the tee box because that's not conducive to me having a strong round.
It's not a game that's good for you.
No, because if I could actually hit my irons a little more solidly and compress them a little more, when we're out on the real course, when we're playing Medicine Hat or we're on some other course, I won't be so afraid of those longer shots.
That's right.
If I'm compressing my irons and I can get like 170 yards out of a 5-iron, 150 yards out of like 170 yards out of a 5-iron, 150 yards out of a 7-iron. If I could get those type of distance, which I used to hit when I didn't play golf because I was just hacking at it, like just literally just smacking at it. I'd love to have that type of distance in my game now when I'm actually playing the game.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I did notice some stuff watching the film, the videos back, and now I just want to do it. And here we are stuck inside again.
And it's going to get cold again starting tomorrow.
It's a little depressing. It's like I want to work on this stuff. I really want to go. Like I literally, when I watched some of the video, I was like, I could go spend 2 hours at the driving range now because I really want to work at that. I saw it. It's fresh in my mind, and now I want to go work on it. And here we are, fucking.
Well, video feedback is so important. Like, I know in the summertime, like when I would do range sessions, I would set it up and I would watch and I would go through every club. Like as I was getting like, I don't know, about halfway through the year when I really started to hone my game in, it was, I would hit like 5-6 balls with every club. And then I would, I'd go home afterwards and I would look, or I'd watch in between. Yeah. I'm like, that one felt terrible. Like, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm coming too steep, or, the ball is not where it's supposed to be in the stance, or the face is open, or just different things that you're watching, right? Or your hip turn is way too early, and it's causing you to just yank it to the left, right? Like,
it's so valuable.
It's crazy because you can kind of feel things if you know what you're looking for, but there's a lot of times where you go back to the video and you're like, I did not realize I did that, and that's exactly what caused that whole thing to go off kilter. And it's just funny because, again, our swings, I mean, everybody swings a little different, but our swings will forever be different because of the way I cross-hand golf.
Cross-hand, and left-hand low.
You swing with, your normal grip.
Yep.
And I mean, for me, with the driver, like working on last year, because I made an aggressive effort to get better with it and to figure stuff out, and I think I did well with that. Understanding that my ball positioning for my driver and my feet positioning to get my shoulders square were the two most important things. And once I figured that out and kind of figured out where they needed to be, it was like, holy smokes, because we can crush it now.
Your driver setup is literally fucked.
Oh yeah,
like it is.
You watch it on video and you're like, what is this guy doing?
It's like your right leg is like almost a full pace behind your left leg. There's very little shoulder tilt. Because you're left-hand low, that naturally brings your club.
Yeah, I don't have to compensate.
You don't have to compensate because, and it's just
because if I do, then I hit it straight upward.
Exactly.
If I give it too much, right?
And then there's that wicked slice that you can get into. But this past summer, you were getting away from the slice and you were getting into the hook.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, which I mean, they always say when you overcompensate when you're trying to work away from it, that's usually what happens, right? And I mean, I did hit a couple hookies on the range there on the sim, and then I did hit a couple slices because I came over the top a little bit. But I mean, again, it's just finding that setup. But what I've gotten is, I mean, I've found, when I step over the ball for a driver, it's the same setup every time.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a matter of tweaking that a little bit where my foot needs to be to remember where it is and my shoulders are square. And then it's the same setup every time. And you've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
And that's why your driver's so consistent.
Yes.
I had to find that for me.
And again, I'd like to get a little more distance off the tee box, which would help my approach game a little bit. But I mean, but again, for me, it's going to be you're sacrificing fairways for distance.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm okay with that because I have the game to play that.
You're a scramble master. Like your ability to get out from under trees or out from bushes or in fucking water. It's like your scramble game is fantastic. So I understand you wanting to get the ball down as far as you can towards the green. Myself, I want to look at it.
Yes.
Right. I don't want to be hitting through trees. I don't want to be hitting over bushes. I want to look at it. But again, my approach game, because of my distance with my irons, I don't hit a lot of greens.
No, right? And it makes it more difficult.
And it makes it more difficult.
Make it more difficult to get pars because you have to chip well at that point.
And again, the rounds that I play well, my chipping and my putting is because again, the off the tee box and approach game can be what it is. But if I chip well and I putt decent, that's when I go low.
Yep.
Right. I don't go low when I'm massively long off the tee because it never happens. I don't go low when I'm hitting a lot of greens because I'm in 3-putt territory.
That's right.
When I'm chipping and putting, that's when my scores are relatively low, right?
Yep.
But I would like to I want to get some distance out of the irons, a little more distance. I would like to get a little more distance with the driver off the tee box. But one thing at a time. I'm noticing what I was doing with the irons. Really put that in my mind that, you know what, you need to bring your hands in a little tighter, and you need to focus on keeping them there, and working on the turn to get the club face back to the ball. Don't start drifting out. Don't let your hands drift back out to where it's comfortable. Get them back in tight, and you got to learn how to turn the hip to get the.
See, it's funny because the tighter you get them in there, if you slack off, then you turn a slice, right?
Right.
Because you're inside out.
Yep.
Because you start inside, and then as you come through, you're kind of drifting out, and then you get that slice.
Exactly.
Away. So it's hard to keep them in that swing pocket.
I've tried it before, and my hands keep drifting out to where this is comfortable. Okay, I'm not hitting the ball. I'm hitting my 9-iron 100 yards instead of like 120, 130, right? But it's more comfortable, and it feels like I can play this game. But I want more distance. I want more yardage with my irons, and I got to work on that. And watching it was very, very telling. Watching it throughout the entire video, going, holy shit! Like I get that ball. I get my clubs in my hands so far away from my body. There's zero chance. It's all upper body. I get my distance with upper body and upper body alone.
Man, when I was struggling with my driver, I tried to swing it the way you would swing it, like way out, and I'm just like, it feels so brutal. Like I would always end up with a massive slice because I'm just like, I can't stay out to the ball that way.
And when I hit my driver and when I have my hands far away like that, it's easier for me to come from the inside.
Yeah.
And kind of push the ball away from me.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of, and that push away from me kind of brings the ball back a little bit. Right. But again, I hit my ball off the tee box. It goes high and it just goes straight. Like I don't know.
But I mean, even if you got 20, 30 yards on your driver, it changes like 2 to 3 clubs of what you're hitting, right?
Exactly.
And it just makes you that much more accurate, which in turn should theoretically allow you to hit more greens, which should help you lower your score.
And again, last year was a good development year.
Yep.
For our game and understanding where we are. I think this year, when the season starts, it is going to be a like you probably are, again, a season ahead of me when it comes to last year was your year to work on what you needed to work on, and the year before was your, say, development year.
Yeah.
Like last year was my development year. Now this year coming up is now I have to work on stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of get that where our games are. Is you're a season ahead of me.
It kind of feels that way.
It kind of feels that way.
Part of that, again, goes back to like we talked about, like, I have the club advantage. Like I have the fitted bag, right? Yeah. Which tailors to what I'm trying to do. So which helps. I mean, people can say all they want, but it helps.
For sure.
For sure. It
does. I've seen it.
And
I've seen it.
You know, I'm super comfortable with that, and I mean, I'm also, I mean, I'm a little younger than you are.
Yeah.
I mean, I still play a lot of baseball or slow pitch, so I get a lot of, you know, when you're swinging a ball, when you're swinging in slow pitch, you still got to get your core through, right, and your hips. I mean, otherwise it's going to be going you know out towards right field for me because I'm a lefty and just tailing out that way. But if you get through, then you can pull it.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the biggest things that I've figured out over the years is because I used to do exactly what you were doing, all upper body.
Yep.
Keep those hips and those legs steady.
Yeah.
And don't turn them. Just go upper body. You have control, but you don't get any distance out of it.
Nope.
I mean now, like I'm hitting. I mean, I hit my pitching wedge like 140 to 150.
Yeah. Well, and, dude, I seen you consistently this year, 6-iron, 210.
Yeah.
Like with a 6-iron.
Like it's crazy. Like I mean, and if I get 210 out and I'm like, ooh, 6-iron, I'm like, I feel real confident with this club.
Right. and I've seen it. Right. I've seen that kind of consistency and yardage. I mean, 210 with a 6-iron is.
Well, I mean,
it's ungodly when it comes to us as hackers. Right?
I mean, that's basically right on par with what those guys on like tour distances are, right? Like it's in that realm of kind of, you know, my clubs are basically, except for my driver and my 3, because I don't hit it near as long as they do. But I mean, it's the rest of my irons and stuff are basically right in line with what guys that can play at that level would be hitting.
Yep.
The difference is I'm not a consistent golfer.
But again, if you're hitting if you're 210 out and you're hitting your 6-iron, you know you're at least going to be, unless there's like OB right of the green, you're going to be able to play a chip and putt up there.
Oh, for sure.
If you're not
for sure.
Green, right?
I mean, there's plenty of times where, I mean, even after hitting a bad, let's say bad first shot on a par 5 out at Medicine Hat, and I hit a good, you know, I grab a 6-iron if I'm in trouble, and I'm just like, just going to plug this out there 200 yards.
Yep.
And it's going to give me like maybe 150, 160 left.
Right.
Maximum.
It puts you back in the play for the hole.
And then I basically, or a wedge, and if I can get a wedge or a 9-iron in my hand, or an 8-iron, then it's like, hey, we can attack now.
Exactly.
We can go.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm comfortable, because I remember in the past when I would go to like Redcliffe, and you know the first hole it's like 4 something, it's like 420 or 430 or something. And I remember on that one, like even in those days when I would hit a good drive, and I'm like, we still got like 215 yards, and I'm like, what the hell do I have in my bag to hit it that far? I don't have anything.
Yep.
And I'm like,
and now you hit a 6-iron and you're 8 or 9-iron in, right?
Right, and now I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I don't. It's just the comfortability. It's interesting because it's adapted that way. But that's where I've come, because I've learned to get my hips through after contact, like to finish your turn, right?
Yeah.
Not before, because that causes a different issue. But that was something I really focused on this past season.
It's something I got to focus on here now. You know, like, I mean, if I was doing a checklist, that would be the first one. Start with a 9-iron, work your way up to a 7-iron.
And I'm telling you,
get that turn through.
That Journal 18, like if you want to work on things, I mean, I didn't use it as much as I should have this season. You
did when you first got it.
I did. I used it for probably 10 rounds, and then it is a little tougher to use because it's a little slower. So if the pace is quick, it's tough to kind of stay on top
of it.
And
we play fast.
But I'll tell you what, if you want to work on things, and it'll tell you goals of like what you're trying to do mechanically, what you're trying to do mentally, and what your goals are for like how many greens you want to hit, how many blah blah blah, and just to kind of say, hey, like this is what I'm trying to accomplish today. How close can I get? And it's really good that way. Like I have to make more of a habit to use it this year, because you know I got my scorecard, and then I got my scorecard on my phone, and then by the time I'm using that, I'm like, well, it's time to tee off and do whatever. It's just too many things, right?
And see, when I go to the golf course, for me, it's just scorecard.
Yeah.
Right. I write down all my information on a scorecard, fairways, greens, putts on a scorecard, and I just do it hole per hole on scorecard. And then when I get home, that's when I enter it into the electronic stuff.
And I mean, it's nice to have like the Golf Canada to give you the distances. I mean, although this year I was kind of thinking I might get a rangefinder. Just to do that, and then play without the Golf Canada, and then just use the rangefinder and the book, and then I could use the Journal 18. It would be a little better. little, because sometimes we play courses that Golf Canada doesn't have.
Yeah, and
so then it's tougher.
Yeah, we've experienced that, and I am pretty good from using the markers on the fairways.
Yeah,
like the 200 yard, 150, 100 yard.
Sometimes, man, those aren't as accurate as they should be.
But I am comfortable using those. It is when we get inside of that is when I would really like that type of information.
Yes.
So I go, okay, you're 35 yards from center here. It's a back pin, so you're going to play it like, well, 145 or something, something like that, right?
Talking about that, I mean, like we go back to the simulators. I mean, that's where my biggest gripe is with them. Like from 60 yards in, it's how do I hit a 60-yard shot when I can't even, my eyes can't even tell me how far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it's really hard.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay.
It's a video game. You're playing a video game, right?
So I know, let's say I know what a feel is for roughly a 60-yard shot, but it doesn't always turn out to be that far on the game.
Okay. So let's get into our sim session a little bit. So we played Augusta to begin with, and I think we played
like 8 holes.
8 holes.
Yeah.
And your first putt was, again, you touched it. It literally rolled off the green.
Yeah, it went like 35 feet. It was crazy. And I'm like, I looked at you and I didn't even hit it to the screen, which is like 8 feet in front of us. Yeah. I hit it like maybe halfway there. And it was like gone.
Yeah.
Wouldn't even fit in the 3-foot gimme range around the hole. I'm like, okay.
And I was like, oh shit, here we go. And we got through those 7 or 8 holes that we played and we're like, this is way too intense for us just starting out. So we went and switched to a different course.
Yeah.
And I think we only played 2 holes there because same thing. OB was tight and couldn't get up the fairway with any accuracy, and we're like, oh shit. So we picked a little easier course, and then we started to play a little bit. You actually started to play shittier, and I started to play better because I think I posted a video on our socials, and I made 5 par putts in a row.
Yeah,
literally drained 5 par putts in a row. And for me at a sim, that's unheard of.
Yeah, I couldn't putt to save my life.
No.
I could not. And that's the strongest part of my game.
Exactly.
So putting and chipping, and I'm like, well, this is ass backwards. Because, I mean, off the tee, I was doing pretty good. Like, I was hitting them pretty well. I thought my driver was good, and my approach shots weren't bad. I made some good chips here and there for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, it was like, you had the chip instead.
yeah, right.
Really well.
Right, and I was sticking some shit.
I couldn't putt to save my life.
Yeah.
Like, didn't matter.
Because I can't remember how many holes we played, but
I want to say 14.
Because I think I went 5 over
through like the first 3.
The first 3, and then I parred everything. Mm-hmm. And I made 5 par putts in a row, but I was chipping in, like I was getting close to the green, then I was chipping in the 3-foot ring and getting the automatic par. I think I parred everything after that, the first like 3 holes.
Oh yeah, you were lights out. You played really well.
And again, that is, I don't take a lot out of that because it's, again, for me, it's a video game.
Yeah.
You're playing a video game. What I took out of that was the video. Like, really, watching me swing and going, geez, there's a lot of work there. And again, I've never taken lessons or anything, right? But, there's a bunch of golf coaches that we follow on socials that I watch their videos, right? There's going to be some deep diving into some of these coaches' videos about hitting irons and compressing the ball that I really want to focus on and I really want to start getting at.
See, it's funny because I've never really, like, I'm trying to think. I've never really struggled with my irons.
No,
ever. I get it. It's always been something I could hit for some reason. And then the woods were always the thing that I have always given me grief, which I spent hours and hours on YouTube videos.
But this is the thing, like, you get what you want out of your irons. And again, that comes from having them fitted as well. Correct, for me, that has to come, and it has to be, this is going to be a big year for us playing golf because, AGT stuff is starting to roll out here now, and
we might have seen a little sneak peek there.
I want to get ready for that, and part of that is I need to get fitted for irons. I need to get irons, and I need to work with them. Like, before we start this stuff.
And they take a while, man. Like, remember, it took me almost an entire year to get used. Like, it's funny because you get fitted and you're going to hit them like $1 million while you're getting fitted for them.
Yeah.
And then you're going to take them to the course, and the first couple of rounds, you're going to be like, why the fuck did I buy these things? And why did I spend all that money?
If you and I weren't golf partners and I didn't see that benefit, that might affect me a little more at the beginning to say, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
But I've seen that process and how it works.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of time.
It wouldn't detract from me going, geez, what have I done here, right? It wouldn't, because it would, like, you just got to work with it.
Yep.
Because again, if you can fucking do it, I can do it.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So,
and once you get the feel and once you know the intricacy, like, it's so crazy because, I mean, like, again, we talk about this all the time. Like, I can literally go to my bag and be like, well, I need a 7-iron here. Well, I know exactly what this can do.
Yep.
At a full shot, I know what it can do if I hit it the way I want to hit it, and I have the utmost confidence that this is the club I need to swing here. Yep. And if I miss the shot, it's because of how I swung, not because of the club.
And again, I pull a club out of my bag, and it's a stock club, and it's like, I'm sure this can do what I want. I think. Maybe, right? And I want that confidence, right? Because again, this is it. Golf is Mulligans and Hackers rule number 2. Golf is fucking expensive.
Yep.
Right? And it's going to cost us a lot of money to play on tour.
Yep.
With traveling and entry fees and all that type of stuff.
Oh, you know what I might do this? I might get new wedges. It's almost time.
Don't you have Haywood wedges?
I do, but it doesn't stop me from getting 2 new ones.
Oh, I guess, yeah. But
the faces are starting to get a little beaten up.
And if I'm going to get fitted in new irons, I need an updated driver, right? I'm TaylorMade R9 driver, TaylorMade R9 3-wood, right?
Obviously, you'll do your irons first. Like those are going to hit your most shots in your bag.
But it's all money.
Yeah,
it's literally all money.
Oh, I mean, you just watched me go through it the last couple of years, and it's just like, holy smokes!
So right, and like in a hurry, and outside of golf, life happens too, and there's a lot of stuff going on in life that's like, Jesus,
unexpected things, right?
Not really,
things that are expected that you got to deal with.
My wife was in school for a full year, right?
Yeah,
and that affects the household as it is, right? So, we're just starting to come out of that now, and it's like, I want to spend $1,000, $1,300 on irons, the entry fee to get into AGT. I want to play Sim League, and have to put money away to travel.
You're looking at like $10,000,
right? You know what I mean?
Just off the top of my head,
it's like holy shit.
I mean, if you want to include your golf membership and everything else, it's like
a golf membership for whatever that is, almost $3,000, right? I was like,
well, it'd be $400 less because we'll take up the dual. So that'll be nice.
Fuck the dual.
So I mean, that way you can get your.
I'm gonna get my range pass.
Instead, right? So that'll still save you a couple $100.
Exactly, and for me, that's one of the things I've really neglected out of my game is that range time, and again, being, we'll say, a season behind you, that's going to change this year. Right?
I've seen some of it change last year. Like, you made a concerted effort for quite a while, like longer than I expected you to.
Right?
So, naturally, your progression this year, I would think that you're probably going to spend just as much, if not more, time at the range than I do.
You bet. I spent a lot of time on the putting green last year. I'll spend as much time this year on the putting green because that was a part of my game that I did see quality improvement on over this season.
For sure. I mean, you made some crazy good putts this year that you had no business making in previous seasons. So,
and I limited I still have my 3-putt issues every now and then, but I limited that. So yeah, just the looking at the cost of what this season is going to be in golf is like, holy shit! It's like retirement money type shit. But I mean, I'm in it now, and again, we're hacker golfers, and it was like, we just want to do this. I just want to do this, right?
Oh yeah, man. I'm excited, dude. Like, I mean, I go back to when we first started, and I just look, and I'm like, dude, could you imagine custom bags, custom bags? We have our own friggin' podcast. We're playing on the AGT. We're playing more and more events on the AGT, and we feel comfortable. Not like we feel out of place. We just suck.
I've mentioned this on the podcast before that I'm so comfortable going to a golf course now that even if it's one I've never played, that I can get around it.
Yeah.
I can just get around it. Like when we went and played Strathmore.
Yeah.
Right? We've played Strathmore a few times now, and it was like, I wasn't intimidated by the course.
No.
I was intimidated by the fucking weather, but I wasn't intimidated by the course.
Yeah, but you got that under control now, too.
Same thing as going to Mickelson. Like, Mickelson, the weather was an issue, but I had no qualms about getting around that course as an elite type of course, right?
Yes.
It wasn't intimidating at all. And I will tell you, aside from the last hole that I played that course relatively well in bad weather.
Yep.
And that type of intimidation is not there anymore. Now it's just show up and try and bring your game that you know you can play to these courses.
The best you got that day.
Yeah, right? I mean,
that's the idea.
That is so exciting to be at that point, and this will be our 5th year golfing.
Yeah.
But I remember in the first season we played, maybe the second season, I mentioned the HET. That was something we were going to be getting into, and it kind of.
We talked about it. We kind of laughed. We're like, we'll get there, maybe.
Hole number three at Cottonwood Coulee. I remember bringing it up, and here we are. We already got our first season under our belt. We played 3 events.
Yep.
And this season we're hoping for more.
Well, this season we're definitely going to be playing some majors.
That's the somebody might have got a sneak peek at the schedule, and
that's you buy your AGT membership before the new year, you get a little sneak peek. So that's nice.
And looking at the tentative schedule, there's some good possibilities there for us to get in at least 2 majors.
Oh, dude, I'm so pumped. I'm just beyond excited to sit down and, once that schedule gets finalized and finalize everything around and just make it, it's cool for me because, I have a natural progression from like high school volleyball to club volleyball and golf overlap for like a couple weeks, and then it's just all golf for the rest of the year. And it's just it's awesome. And then by the time golf season's done, it's like, holy shit, now I'm back in. So I don't really get it. I don't really get a downtime for that, and I love it because it just keeps me busy.
Yeah, and January hits now. The attention to diet, fitness, and exercise becomes prominent again. So that when I hit the golf season, I don't have to work on that. I'm already there. I'm in that type of shape because I really enjoyed walking the courses this past year, and I'd like to do a lot more of it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Since we got our dog, like we go for like 3 to 5 kilometer walks every day.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome. Because I was like, yeah, walk with him, and it'll be good for both of us. And I've been doing it, and I'm like, man. I was like, I forgot how much I love just going for a nice like 3 to 6K walk. I mean, walking around the golf course is slightly different, but it's still like by the time we get back out there and we're walking, we're not going to have that rust to knock off where we're like, oh, we're walking. Because
I've had the last. So I took a week off of work, Christmas week. Yep. So I've had 9 days off, and I've gotten some walks in on those days off.
Yep.
And I really enjoy walking.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes you just can't do it because the weather here, the sidewalks are just sheets of ice. But again, I did buy a treadmill that crapped out. What a fucking joke that was. But maybe a gym membership comes up too, and geez, more money, right? Just to go to a gym and walk for a couple hours.
Well,
right?
I mean, the other part of that with a gym membership, I mean, you also have access to weights and everything else, right? It's not just a one thing. Like we have the family pass at the FLC, right? Like, I mean, to be honest, I don't think I've ever used my part of it, but I mean, I'm there all the time with the girls anyways. But I mean, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, I could get up in the mornings, I could go hit a gym session. I was like, do some weights. I was like, I could tailor a program to work on some swing mechanics and some different things. And I've been toying with the idea of putting a program together, kind of, to work on golf, but also to work on my volleyball. So working on my vertical at the same time as working on my explosive core power, because they're both a sport that requires your core, which is awesome. So I might just do that, and I mean, I have the capabilities to get over there and do that, but I don't need no more distance out of my club.
I don't think so.
I don't need. I literally do not need any more distance. I need more accuracy for certain clubs, which is what I've been trying to work on. Like I'm very content with where my distance is at. I mean, no, I'm not going to complain if I can hit a longer, accurate driver. I mean, by no means. But the rest of my clubs, I don't need any more. If I go any more, it's too much.
Yep.
Because I'm right in that nice range where everything kind of fits nicely.
Well, then you're not trying to hit the ball too hard, which again becomes a spray and pray issue, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which kind of that's where I get when I start trying to hit the ball harder.
Yeah, when we go out there and you have those rounds.
And I have those rounds where I'm trying to really
Then you're over here.
And I'm not a spray and pray golfer. There's a cone that I have to be in to score well.
And then Alvin just starts tossing clubs and being like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, the meltdowns are real.
Yeah,
I have limited those as well because again, the whole golf thing and the mental part of the game this year really came around for me, and I was happy with that. And that's something I'll continue to work on. But just going to the course and not having that negative energy as soon as you show up was a game changer.
Oh, for sure, man.
You show up to the course and you're like, well, I wonder what I'm going to shoot. It's like, just go to the course. This was kind of it was kind of the like. So you show up to the course, you shoot shitty, you're pissed off, and you were like that from the first tee box.
Correct.
Or you can go there, not have that mindset and go, I'll just take what the course gives me, walk off, and be okay with it, whether you shot a shitty round because you didn't play well or you shot a great round. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Like, just go and play every hole and see what happens instead of having that every hole going, oh shit, double bogey on one. Game's over. Well, no, not really. I've seen it, and now I've seen it with you where you've taken a double bogey at the first hole or a triple bogey, and you've turned around to an 85, an 84, right? I take a double bogey at the front. I can turn it into an 85 and an 84 just the same way, right?
Yep.
That type of mental...
It's just all your mentality.
That was my mental breakthrough probably halfway through the season that really, again, changed my outlook on golf.
I mean...
I'm never going to play every round solid. But always take something out of that round that's positive.
Yeah, and you're probably like 1 in every 20 is going to be your best.
Yeah.
The best you've got.
Yeah,
right?
I mean...
that's usually what it is.
We both shot our career lows at par 72s this year.
Yeah, or at Medicine Hat.
At Medicine Hat, I shot an 80. You shot an 80 a couple times, right?
Yeah, yep.
And
I shot an 80 from, actually both mine were from the whites.
Yeah. And I shot my 80 from the yellows.
From the hybrids, yeah.
Yeah, so, and again, you still got to hit the shots.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So,
like the distances, so you don't get a massive advantage from the hybrids. There's just on a few holes, which is nice. But
there's that one hole, number 8, where I can cut the corner.
Yes.
Where I don't have to kind of smack it out to try and get it around the corner.
I mean, that's one of the toughest holes. It's dog leg left, and you got to hit a bombing drive to get it to the corner and then get around, right? Like, playing from the yellows there makes it a lot more gettable. Yeah. But
and 15, right?
Yeah, 15.
And 15?
15? Yeah, 15.
15. Yeah, 15 is another tough one because it's a long
Well, it's over 400 yards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't hit a good drive, you're in tough.
Yeah. And again, trees on the left. It's a little bit of a dog leg left as well, and there's trees on the left that if you
want and trees out to the right if you're so you want to try and stay down the right side if you can.
And if you're not, then again, for me, that's a driver 3-wood hole.
Yes,
it's a driver 3-wood par 4
from the whites. Yeah.
From the whites, and that's you got to hit 2 good shots.
It's just interesting to watch. Like, I noticed when your mentality changed because you said it a couple of times early in the year, right? Like, in previous seasons, I would get upset when I would make like a triple or a double, and I'm like, fuck, now I gotta play catch up. Yeah. And coming towards the end of the last season, and then into this season as it progressed, I was like, okay, so I'm 2 down or 3 down. I was like, by the end of 9, let's get back to even par. Yeah. Like that's the goal now.
Yeah.
Like get back to even par, or see how quickly you can get back to even par. Like the goal is 9. We should be able to do that, no problem. And then all of a sudden the goal is by hole 6. Okay, we're doing that easy. Okay, the goal's by like hole 3, where we're back to even par, right? Like you're trying to knock it.
Playing bogey golf is what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily
not
par,
even, but back to
bogey. Sorry. We like to play bogey golf. We play better. Normally we play better than bogey golf.
But the goal is like if you're 3 over through one, you want to get back to bogey.
Exactly.
To set yourself.
So if you can get through the first 9, be back to bogey golf. Well, then, you just play. Now you're playing the back 9 for a score, then, right?
Yes.
So and then. Just figuring that the more we play, the more we figure shit like that out. Because again, we don't play with guys who've golfed their entire lives, right? We just don't do it. We play with guys who are like us, who just golf for, they golf for fun, and we're kind of progressing a little bit.
Well, I mean, sometimes we play with guys who have golfed, and it's like, but everybody's those guys are kind of in their own little world.
But that's the thing. If we golf with guys that have golfed their entire lives, we're going to watch how they play.
Correct.
And we're gonna do that regularly. Time after time, now we start picking up their habits, right?
Yep.
We get that once out of every 5 or 6 rounds. You're not picking up as much as you would if you were playing every day with guys that were, 5 handicaps, 7 handicap, 10 handicap, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a matter of us. And when we do play with guys we don't know, or guys that have played, quite a bit, you try to suck up as much information as you're watching them play.
That's not intimidating as it used to be either.
No. Well, a lot of times, though, Alvin, we're the better golfers.
I get it.
It's wild.
Me and my personality, not being a people person, but like I'm so comfortable playing golf with anyone now. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
This past season, the move to Medicine Hat was great, and playing with people, playing with randos. Again, it was one of those things where it just didn't bother me.
No, and I mean, we got a couple guys that were pretty good when we played them, and we got a couple guys that said they were pretty good, and then we played with them, and we're like, yeah, you're not that good. And it's always funny because, people are always like, well, I wonder what your people's handicaps would be if they, they played out every ball. And we play out every ball. Like, our handicaps are true as hell because
there's very few times that we pick the ball up. It's got to see the bottom of the cup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? And
you're playing the game to get the fucking ball in the cup.
We play with guys that are like, if we have a 2-foot putt, it's like, I'll pick that up. No, we don't pick that up. We putt that out. Right? Because
you have to be able to do that.
Well, again, you have to be able to do that. If we're going to go out and play on tour on the EGT, you ain't picking up a 2-foot putt. There's no gimmies.
They ain't giving you that. So, you pick that up.
So you best putt that shit out, right? You best putt that shit out.
Or whatever it is.
And again, we want to putt that shit out. I want to hear it hit the bottom of the cup. Sometimes there'll be a putt where it's like, yeah, I'm not giving that the satisfaction of hitting it to the bottom of the cup. But that's in our casual rounds, anyways, right? So.
But it's just interesting because we play with guys and they're like, well, yeah, if guys actually finish their rounds, it'd be interesting to see what their handicap index is. And I'm like, well, my handicap index is what it is because I put in my shitty rounds and I put in my good rounds.
Yep.
And the goal is to try and keep it as low as you can when you're playing, and sometimes that works, and sometimes you go out and you shoot 93, 94 at a club championship, and you're like, well, that was really not fun today, but we'll get back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
you got to go play it, and last year was such a great building year for us in all the aspects of golf that 2025 is going to be something where we're just
it's gonna have a lot to try and live up to, right?
Well, but just more experiences and getting more involved in the game, and
So we go back to our. I guess the sim golf for us on the weekend was just nice to get the swings back.
It was.
I didn't feel great about my game per se, but I also didn't feel horrible because I'm like, I haven't swung a club in months, so it was just nice to get out.
I was happy with the workout. It was 2 hours swinging clubs. What I got out of it was the video. I didn't get much out of the actual sim session itself.
Yeah.
But I do have some stuff I want to work on, and that's at least I got that out of that sesh.
Yeah, for sure. And it just reminded me how much I fucking love golf.
True.
I gotta get back to the sim soon.
I took out the old Glamour bag. Right, I put the blades in it. I took the Glamour bag there, the Wilson staff bag, tour bag. Got that all rigged up, and it was nice to get that out. But other than that, this sim is what it is. And same thing when we play the Cottonwood Sim League. That will be what it is.
Oh yeah, we're going out there to just work on some stuff, and we'll see what happens.
And I got some stuff to work on.
We've got a better idea how to play this sim league this time.
Yeah, we do.
A little rough last time.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can sneak into the playoffs and maybe see if we can't win ourselves. Who knows? Maybe you can win yourself a set of custom irons before the season begins.
Wouldn't that be something?
Or something, or a driver, or wedges. Top 3.
Yeah, you bet.
You never know.
You bet. But anyways.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good pod.